invite our next speaker, Saurabh. How are you, Saurabh?
Hey Sabir, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Saurabh. Thank you so much. Thank you, Saurabh, for being part of this bootcamp and willing to share your expert knowledge with the community. This is going to be the last session for our bootcamp. So it's kind of we are closing with your session. And Saurabh is going to share his knowledge and learning on subscription billing. With that, I
Yeah,
will hand over the mic to Saurabh. Mic is yours, Saurabh.
thanks, Sabir. And first of all, thank you so much for Sabir and Rakesh to organize this boot camp. I know it's really difficult to bring a lot of people together, community together, and the speakers together. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And it's a great pleasure to be here and sharing my knowledge with you all. Today, I'm going to speak on the subscription billing, which is kind of a new addition to the Microsoft Dynamics module list which we have. So let me quickly share my screen. Let me know once you can see this.
Yes, Saurabh, we are able to see your screen.
Great, that's good. Okay. Bit of background about me. I know a lot of people from this forum. So yeah, so my name is Saurabh Bharti. I'm working with EY right now, and I've been in India for, I mean, almost last 10 years. Recently, this year, I have moved to UK. Okay. And I have overall almost 10 years of experience working in Microsoft Dynamics 365. I started working in AX 2012 and then now working in FNO 365. I do uh, uh, write blogs and try to share my thoughts around the new features, functionality, or anything which I feel like needs to be shared with the community. Okay. And yeah, that's about me pretty much. Let's see the agenda for today. So I have got the 50 minutes to share my thoughts around this topic, the subscription billing, and I'll be talking about the overview about the subscription billing. We'll be picking up one of the component of subscription billing, which is the recurring contract billing. I'll be giving the demo on that, and then we'll see the Power BI capability around the subscription, really what we have out of the box, and then we will have some time left for the Q&A. So I'll be happy to take the questions from. Okay. So subscription billing. First thing is it's a new addition to the module list what we have in Dynamics. Okay. And subscription billing, I mean, it enables the organization to manage their revenues, or different types of revenue which they have, and the recurring billing. Even it has different capabilities of the deferrals, and also it has a revenue allocation. It manages the complex pricing around the subscription billing, right? So I'm going to talk about this thing. And first thing is that subscription billing is a kind of a big topic to cover in this 50 minutes, because it has majorly three components. So within the subscription billing module, once you will enable, you will see there are three parts of it. One of the part is the recurring contract billing, which I will be explaining in detail today. The other part is the revenue and expense deferrals, which talks about basically how do you recognize your revenue, right? Which is like we also have a module called as revenue recognition. It's a kind of a you can say replacement of that, and even it does the expense recognition, deferrals of the expenses side as well. And then third part of this subscription billing is the multi-element revenue allocation. Okay, so I'm not going to cover all three parts because I mean, because of the time constraint. I'll try to cover the recurring contract billing, the first part, which is the kind of a base for the next two parts. If we understand the first part, we can uh, try learn about the other two parts, and possibly in future if there are other sessions or things are there, I will be happy to take up about the rest of the two uh, parts of this subscription billing as well. Okay. So first thing is that how do you enable the subscription billing, right? So To enable subscription billing, you need to move to the feature management workspace. Okay. On the module side, you just filter based with the keyword or the module name subscription billing, and you need to enable these four features. Okay. If I remember correctly, this module was introduced as part of 10.0.25, and I think if most of your customers will be now on this version because of the one version concept which we have in Microsoft Dynamics 365. So when you are enabling this thing, there are two things which we need to keep in mind. First thing is the sequence. So first thing is that you need to enable this, the last one, the subscription billing first. Okay. And after that only you can enable the rest of the three component. Okay. So as I said, like subscription billing has three components. So you can enable these three components once you enable this subscription billing first thing. Okay. The second dependency which we have is that you cannot use the subscription billing as parallel to the revenue recognition module. So if you are using the revenue recognition module already, you need to disable that, and you need to then you need to come to the subscription billing. So now there are a lot of talks about that. What about the customers who are already using the revenue recognition? Will this subscription billing fulfill all the requirement in the business scenarios which we had in the revenue recognition? So yes, in my opinion, that's my personal view. Definitely, subscription billing uh, uh, covers the things which we have in the revenue recognition, and it even covers more than that, right? So it is a more comprehensive module which we have. Revenue recognition had its own limitation earlier, but yeah, that's a kind of a debate which one we should use it, and I'm not sure whether revenue recognition is going to be there in long run or not, right? So that's we need to wait for Microsoft to announce on that. But yeah, subscription billing definitely covers more use cases than the revenue recognition, and it also has it is going to have an integration with what I understand in the roadmap is the project management and accounting or the project operations, the application which we have within the Dynamics 365. So that's how, I mean, that's the point, like where you need to enable this subscription billing module through the feature management. So before we, I mean, we start and talk about what configuration and things, what we need, right? So let's talk about like what are the different possible business scenarios are, right? So that we can relate to those things, right? I have just listed down two different business scenarios here, and there can be a lot of business scenarios for covering all these things, right? The first business scenario is that let's assume that USMF provides a Dynamics support to a customer, right? And then they bill them monthly basis $50,000, right? And let's say this contract has a duration. Let's say it starts from 1st November to the 31st of October. It's an, let's say it's an year-long contract. Now, the requirement is that since it's a recurring billing contract, right? So that means it is going for an year. You need to bill the customer every month $50,000, right? So how this can be managed within Dynamics? How we set up this contract, right? How do we set up this schedule, and how do we post the bills? How do we keep the track of this recurring revenue, right? That's one of the scenario is the which will be covered with the first part of the module, which is like recurring contract billing, right? Another scenario which is around the revenue recognition and the difference, which we call it, which is like I mean our day-to-day scenario only. I mean it is in our life as well. Like we buy a Netflix subscription, let's say from Netflix, worth of $1,200. Let's say it's for an year again, right? January month, if we buy this, and we pay upfront $1,200 to the Netflix, right? Now, the question is that when we pay this $1,200 to Netflix upfront at the time of billing, right? Is this the revenue for that month, January month? So answer is no. It is not the revenue only for January, because the service is going to be spread across 12 months, right? So which means the revenue has to be distributed across 12 months, right? So that means when at the time of billing, when we are posting this 1200, it is not my revenue, it is my deferred revenue. That means we are deferring the revenue from the actual realization dates. And then the later on, this revenue needs to be distributed and needs to be recognized over the period of time based on the duration which we have for this thing. So the first part, the first use case, if we talk, will be covered using the recurring contract billing. The second part will be covered using the expense and the revenue and the expense deferral module. I mean, the sub module, I would say, within the subscription billing. Apart from that, now there can be a lot of variation in this. Even if I talk in this $50,000, right? Like now it's a fixed price contract I'm talking. So the same contract can be that, okay, based on the number of hours I want to have the billing done every month. Let's say whatever the number of support hours we customer has consumed, we need to bill them for that. That is another scenario. There can be another scenario if it is a project like I want to bill customer based on the completion of the work, right? Like say I have completed 100 hours, then I want to bill, or if I have completed some certain percentage of the work of the whole contract, right? Then I want to bill them. So there can be a lot of variations in these business scenario. So the idea is that these are the basic scenario, but we can think about a lot of varieties of business use cases here, and all those business use cases can be tackled using this particular module. Okay. Now let me move to the next one. And now, as I said, we are going to talk about the one part of the subscription billing, which is the recurring contract billing part. Okay, so recurring contract billing is basically when we have a contract with the customer for a specific duration, and we want to bill that customer on a monthly or a quarterly or based on a certain frequency. That means there is a recurring billing available for that particular contract, right? So in that case, we can use this particular sub module of subscription billing, and then it is going to create the related transaction like invoices, orders, whatever it is required, and we can manage all these things, right? Now the question comes like for doing so, we need certain configurations, right? So what configurations are required? So there can be a lot of configurations. Okay, there can be parameters set up. As I mean, we know like the parameters are a very important part of every module when we configure those things. But apart from that, there are few things which are very critical uh, in this particular process, right? And what are those two things? So one thing is which we need to set up is the billing schedule group. Okay, that how that billing is going to happen for the contract. Okay, and now that billing schedule group has two major type. One is the pricing method and one is the item type. Okay, so these are the two major component of the recurring contract billing. Okay, pricing, definitely it is a very important thing whenever you are setting up a contract, that how you are going to manage the price for that contract, right? So there are different options available for us. There is a method which is like standard method. Standard method is basically uh, taking the price from the product master or the product which we are billing, right? The item which we are billing, right? It will take up from there. Flat pricing, that means in the contract, you select the line item. Let's say we are talking about the support, like, right? And then we select the support and then we just enter the amount. Okay, 50,000 is my amount. So that's a flat pricing. Then you have the tier pricing where you have a kind of it works with the trade agreement. Okay, what we have in the dynamic standard trade agreement. Once you enable this, you will have these features or these additional fields available there. So tier means like, I mean, as its name suggests, like if you are having, let's say, if I talk about number of hours consumed. So if I have a contract with my customer that if I consume 1 to 100 hours, right, my price per hour is going to be, let's say, $100. But if I consume more than 100 hours and we want to give some benefit to the customer, so we say that, okay, the price will be $90, right? So that's a tier pricing. And the next one is the flat tier. Flat tier means that we say that 1 to 100 will be direct. I mean, 1 to 100. If I consume any number of hours or any quantity, right? My price will be flat. That okay, it is $1,000. Okay. If more than that, it is going to be 1200 or 1500. So for a range, so even if you consume one quantity or two quantity or three quantity, your price is going to be same. And it happens normally in our, if you would have seen in our engagement or the projects which we do, where we go in a enter in a contract with the customer and say that our contract with you is that 1000 hours in a year. It's up to you. Now you have to pay minimum for 1000 hours. Now if you consume 1000 or if you consume 800 or 700, doesn't matter for us, you need to pay what 1000 hours. So that's kind of a flat tier, right? And maybe you have a scenario of like 1000 plus then next 1000. So kind of a you decide the tier and keep the flat price for every tier which you define in the system. So that's a flat tier pricing. I'm going to talk about, I'll show you in the demo as well, like how system captures these things. So this is about the pricing. Apart from that, the next second thing which we have is the item type, right? So when we are doing the contract and when we are defining the schedule, right? So what are the different line item types we can define? So I selected the support as a product in the line item, but how it is going to behave as a line item. So we have three types: standard, usage, and the milestone. And usage again has two parts: reading and the consumption. Standard is very simple. You just select the support. It just behaves in a, okay, you put the number of quantity and then you define the price based on the pricing method what we have here, right? That is going to work. But usage is something related to like the second use case I was talking about in the support contract. Let's say if you want to build a customer based on the number of hours consumed, right? So then you say that this line item is type of usage, okay? And then you need to tell that, okay, if it is a for an year contract, then every month you need to define that the reading. You can define the reading, okay? One method is that, okay, I consumed 100. Not I can. I mean, this is the total accumulated number of hours I consumed in this period. So let's say first month 100. So you will say 100 is the reading, right? The next month, let's say you consumed 50 hours. So your reading will be 150, 100 plus 50, and so on, right? So that's a reading, right? Like how, I mean, if I give a very simple example in a very layman language, your, I mean, in electricity meters, which we have in our households, right? We have the readings, the accumulated readings, right? The consumption is basically you enter that what is the particular number of hours or what is the consumption in that particular duration for which we are defining the billing, right? That's consumption. And milestone is again, as the name suggests, like if I want to bill customer based on the different phases of the project. Let's say if we talk about the Dynamics project itself, so if you have different analysis phase, design, develop phase, test phase, and all these things, if I want to bill the customer based on these phases and what percentage is being completed or what percentage I need to bill, right? So I can define those things as a milestone. So that also can be my one of the milestone here. So these are the things which we have very critical for doing this recurring contract billing. And this is done. All these things are mapped under the billing schedule group. Okay. So next one is, okay, let's see the demo for this, that how all these things are defined. I hope you can see my Dynamics screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wait for this to. Okay. So first thing is, let me go to the feature management. Okay. So you go to the feature management here to enable the feature. So as I said, go to all features, or maybe not enabled if it has not been enabled. You can apply a filter on this. So you see all those 4 different features which are available. So you need to enable this first and then you can enable others. Okay. So once that is enabled, you will see in the list of module, the subscription billing is available for you. And now if you see this subscription billing, right, you have three parts because based on the feature which you have enabled. So you have recurring contract billing, revenue and expense different, and multi-element revenue allocation. Okay. So we are going to talk about the recurring contract billing today. Okay. Now here you have a different segments. I mean, as per like what we have for other modules as well. Like we have the billing schedules, like what we have created, a section for inquiries and reports, some periodic tasks, and then the configuration. So let's talk about the configuration first. And one of the things which I want to talk about in this is the billing schedule group. Okay. So if I see this billing schedule group, so this you need to create, and this is where you define that how your any contract which you are going to define for any customer, right? How that is going to behave, how that is going to be created. So what will be your billing frequency? What will be your pricing method? As I told, like there are different methods which are available. What is the item type? It is going to be standard, usage, or milestone. So these are the different options which you have here and which you define in the billing schedule group, and that will be carry forwarded automatically when you are creating the schedule or the contract in the system. So you can have multiple billing schedule group created for you, and you can use that. Okay, that's one part. Okay. Another part is like, since we are going to talk about the milestone also, so you need to create the milestone template if you are going to use the item type as a milestone. So you need to have the milestone template defined. In the milestone template, you define the name, okay, and then you define that I mean how the allocation will happen. So it can be percentage. That means you say that okay, 20%, 30%, 40%, whatever it is. The amount you can define based on the contract, like what amount, like you have, okay, you don't have any fixed method, so you want to distribute the amount as per your convenient. Equal amount, if you have 3 phases, 4 phases, and total contract amount is there, so you distribute it equally. And the percentage completion is the accumulated percentage. So let's say if I have taken percentage completed, so first phase I will bill the customer for the phase one, which is 30%. Next phase I will bill the customer when it is 70%. That means 30 plus the 40%, the second phase. And the last phase I will bill the customer when it is 100%. That means 30, 40 plus 30%, right? So that's how I'm going to bill the customer. Okay. So that is how you can create different templates also here, not necessary that you use the one template. Another thing which you need to have is that you need to have the mapping for the templates defined in the system. That okay, now if I'm going to use this milestone template, so when you are defining the contract or the schedule, right, you need to select the product or the line item, right? So with which line item this template is going to work, that you need to define, and you can define with the different combination. You can have different renewal. So contract, I mean, it can have a lot of varieties as well. You can have the renewals available in the system. So all these things, but I'm taking a very simple example that this template will be used with this particular product in the system. Okay. So these are the basic setups which we need to do. Okay. What I will do first is that I will just create a simple billing schedule and run end to end with a very simple example. And then I will create schedules and we'll see that how the different pricing are applied, how it behaves, right? So all these things we will check it out. So for creating the billing schedule, you go to the billing schedules here, okay? And you have all billing schedules and the active billing schedules, right? So I go to all billing schedules here. So I'll hit new here to create a new billing schedule. So I can select, first thing is I can select the group here, which billing schedule group which I'm going to use. And as I told, like this is going to be, I mean, this is where all the properties what you have defined in that group will be inherited to this particular transaction, right? And then I will select the customer. Okay, so let's select any of the customer. I will select let's say start date, let's say 1st November, and I will enter number of periods. So automatically my end date is being generated, and I click on okay. So this is my screen for the billing schedule. Now this screen has again the same concept, like where you have the header details and you have the line details. Okay. Now you have the basic information in the header. Now if you still, after creating, if you still want to change something, you can change it here. Let's say now your default billing schedule group is not based on the milestone, it is a standard. So it's not necessary that you can change at the transaction level. Now you can change at the transaction level as well. So it's up to you, like what configuration you want to keep in this particular billing schedule now. Okay. The important thing here is that how this billing schedule is going to work. Is it going to work based on the sales order, or it is going to work based on the free text invoice? Because there are two methods which we have for the billing, right? Either we generate the billing from the sales order or the free text invoice, right? So it is very important for us to decide that it is going to be based on sales order or the free text invoice. And the concept remains same. If someone says that when we are going to use based on the sales order, obviously if you have anything which is based on the orders, right? If you have an inventory product and such things, right, you use the sales order. If you don't have anything like the product master and which is derived from the product master, you are free to use the free text invoice, and you need not to select the product number or item number in the line details, right, when you are creating this. Okay. Someone can ask, can I do mix? No, you can't do mix, right? You need to have either sales order basis or the free text invoice basis. Okay. Then there are certain other properties, the method of payment and other things are there, so which you can do it. Okay. So this is header. Now I will add a one line item here. So I'll click on the add line and I can select the product here. Okay. So let's say I select the support. So I'm selecting a service type of product just for ease of the transaction, right? But you can also have a inventory types of product available here. Okay. And now this has been added. Item type, I'm using standard here. Start date, end date has been populated. I can put the quantity which is needs to be billed, right? A price method, and the price is being automatically populated. Billing frequency is monthly here. So this is how you create the billing schedule, right? It's asking me to put the site. So I will put the site here and save it. Now this billing schedule has few other options. Let's say due to some reason, if you like, let's say you have executed the schedule for few months and now you want to put on hold due to some dispute. So you have an option of putting on hold a specific line, or you can put on hold the complete schedule itself. Okay, you can terminate this particular billing schedule, right? So all these things are available here. Okay. So you can manage your billing schedule based on your requirement or based on the scenarios which you have it here. Okay. So the next important thing for us is that how do we generate the billing, and how do we see that, since it is a year-long contract, right? How do we see that what billing it is going to generate? Like how do we preview that? So to preview that, what you can do is that you can click on this view billing details here. And it is going to show you the list of line items or the list of bills, right, of which it is going to create for your contract. So we have a 12 months contract. For every month, if you see, it is based on the input what we have in the what we have in the billing schedule, right? We can see the billing lines created here, and the price is being managed here. Everything is being populated here. Now you also have columns here that which sales order, invoice, invoice date, and all these things are available here. And you can see the total amount which is there, right? And the price details, like how the price is being calculated for this particular schedule for every line item, right? Now, if we want to, right now, all the sales order and invoice and everything is blank because we have not generated any bill against this. So what we can do is, now next step, we can generate a bill. So I'll just close this. Okay. And to generate the invoice, you need to click on this option on the top, generate invoice. And here you have different options available, like from which date to which date you want to generate the invoice. So let's say if I want to generate the invoice from 1st to 30th November, right? exclude zero consumption if the consumption type of billing if we are using, right? So all these things. Post invoice automatically, or you want to create just a sales order. So what options you want, right? You can just apply here, and you can select that what should be your invoice date, right? So all these things you can just apply as a parameters, and then you can click on the view billing schedule. So one important thing someone will ask, so if I have 100 schedules, am I going to do all these things manually one by one for everything? No. There is in the periodic, you have an option of generating in a batch process also. So based on the different parameters, any billing schedule falling under that criteria, system can generate all these things automatically. And it can share the invoice automatically to the customer, because from there it picks up the standard functionality where you can define the invoice printing based on the email in the print management. So everything can be kind of automated in the system. You need not to have a manual intervention. What you need to have is the basic configuration and a basic schedule defined as per your business process or the requirement which you have. Okay. So I click on the view billing schedule. So it is saying that it is a valid schedule one, and then this is what it is going to do. Now I also have an option that if I want, I mean, if I selected a duration, and if I have multiple billing scheduled available here, so I can select which one I want to proceed and which one I don't want to proceed. So all these decisions I can take. And for now, let's say I say generate all. Taking time. Okay, somewhere. Oh, let me do the, I think product has the warehouse setup also. I'm going to do this. Define the parameters. So it has posted. Okay, so we can see now what we can do is, let's say since we are on this schedule itself, we go to the billing details again and see the same schedule. So now if you see, out of all the lines, the first line has the status as billed. Okay, it has the sales order which has been generated, it has the invoice number, it has the date, and all the details are available. And the same details, I mean, if you want to see for all the schedules and everything, you can go to inquiries section, and there you can see all these details for all the schedules as well. Okay, so this is kind of a end-to-end process of a simple billing contract, I mean, if you have, right, which you can define in the system, and this is how you can process the invoicing for that, and you can keep a track of these things. Now before now this is one thing. Now I'll do one thing. Now we can have I mean different options to be checked, like how the item types and the different pricing options work. So I have already created few billing schedules with the different options. So what I'm going to do is that let's talk about this only. So let's talk about the item type first. Okay, so if my item type is uses, so if you want to have your item type as a use, standard is basically where you just want to build that line what you have, and based on the quantity you define here in the billing schedule. But if you want to use the item type as a usage, so first thing is that the quantity field get disabled. Okay, so you need to define the usage in the system. Okay, now when you define the usage has again the two different types. One is the consumption and the another thing is the reading, right? So you can define that here, that this usage but is a type of consumption or the reading, right? And then you also can define the initial estimated consumption, that okay, we are expecting, if it is a year long contract, so we are expecting that 50 quantity as a consumption in our contract, right, as estimated, right? Now if I click on the billing details of this particular line, so you can see that system is, populating these all these things based on the duration and whatever we have. So we can just define the, it will populate the estimated quantity, but if your actual quantity, the actual consumption is different from what you have estimated, you can enter this. Okay, so let's say I enter something here. Save this. I think it is not saving that. Okay. Yeah, I enter this. So what system will do, like it will, if you have estimated, it will populate all the same, but you still have an option to override every month. You can override that what is your actual consumption. And if you see, based on that, system will automatically derive your pricing based on, so if your unit price is 500, so for this month, the amount will be 45,000. For this month, the amount will be 30,000 if your consumption is less, right? So this is how system is going to derive the schedule for you. Now from here onwards, if you want to build this particular line or bill for this particular month, the options remain same, how we did previously. You just go to generate invoice and then it will generate based on the schedule what you have here. The second variation what you have in the item type usage is the reading, right? So let's say if you say estimated reading is 60 here, you can define initial readings. And if you go to view billing details, now here you also had an option. It has got disabled because since I have created, you can define the initial reading. That's okay. What is the beginning reading? So let's say if your contract is getting renewed, okay, and the last, and you want to have an accumulated reading in the next year also, when you are doing the billing and thing. So you can define the initial reading, and based on the initial reading, then you define that okay, what is your, so it will say previous reading, and then you will say current reading. So it is, as I said, it is the previous plus the current. So actually the current consumption in this month is the 60, right? If I go to this one, my previous is 860 plus 60 is this month, right? So based on that current month reading plus the accumulated reading, we need to define here as a current reading, and the system will populate whatever the pricing method we have. We are going to talk about the pricing as well. So based on that, it will multiply that and it will just populate the total amount for that. And then from here, you can just generate the bill for your this particular schedule. So that is like how you use the item type uses. Okay. Let me take this one. I think this is based on the milestone. If I want to do the milestone, then how we do it. Okay. So milestone is basically, let's say, you have this support contract. If you remember in the milestone template setup, we did the mapping with the product also. So you have a support project. Okay, you select the item type as a milestone here, and what I can do is I can just remove this and maybe show it to you. Select support, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put a flat price here, and let's say it's $100,000. Now till here it is a normal contract line, but if you just want to, okay, this, Now, if I want to use this line item in my contract as a milestone basis, so I can just change it to milestone. And if I save this, so based on the configuration, if you remember 30, 70% completion and 100% completion, it has, I mean, changed. I think it took the same amount there. So it has divided the amount based on the percentage completed. And it has generated all the child line which it had. Okay. So how do you know which is the parent line and the child? So if this is how the relationship between the parent and the child line is shown here at the line item level. Okay. And then it has the start date available here. Okay. So all these things are going to start at the same point of time. Now, based on this, you can generate the billing for this particular schedule. And one important thing which you observe here, the end date is disabled for the parent line, because our billing is going to be derived based on the child line item, not based on the parent line item. So let's say if I go and see the view billing details as of now, it won't show anything for me. Why? Because I have not entered the completion date of this particular milestone. Okay. So what I need to do is that I need to define that if this has been completed or not, right? If it has been completed, now if I go to view billing details, I can see that this is available for me to bill. Okay. So it is very important when you are using milestone base, and if you want to generate the billing for that, you make sure that you enter the end date for that particular milestone which has been completed. Okay. So this is how you use the milestone basis uh, the item type for your recurring contract. The next thing I'll talk about is the pricing. So this covers the item type. Now let's talk about the pricing. Okay. So pricing, as I said, there are multiple options available. Okay. So I'll take a standard item type here only. But the pricing method, you have four: standard, flat tier, and the flat tier here. Standard is basically whatever you have defined in the product master, it will be available for you and it will be non-editable for you. Okay. First thing. So that's a standard way. The another approach is that the flat. If you want to define the flat pricing here, so what system will have that? So you have this particular unit price field available for editing here. So that means for this particular contract, you can define that what pricing you want to use for this. Okay. So if I just click on this view billing schedule for this particular line item, since it is a flat here as a 5,000, right? I can see that for all the quantities, whatever the quantities I have entered, so it's a it's a 12 quantities if we are going to bill, and the unit price is this 5,000, and it is going to give me the amount here. Okay. Now, one important thing or one additional thing which is available if you are using flat or tier or any uh, different type of pricing, is that you also have something called as advanced pricing option. So advanced pricing option is, let's say if you are using, if you enter 12 quantity in the line item, and if you want to give up some free quantity in that particular line item or in that particular billing schedule, you can enter that free quantities here. And what system is going to do is that system is going to recalculate the price for that. So it is not going to charge for the 12 into 5,000, 60,000. It is just going to charge for the 10 quantity, and 2 quantity it is going to give as a free quantity for the customer. Okay, so your pricing get adjusted based on this different methods which you are having right now. So that is about the flat. Now there are two other types which we have is the tier and the flat tier. Okay, so what I'll do is that I need to go to this tab, and let me go to the trade agreement journals. Let me see the posted one. I think let's see this one. So in this, if you see one thing, that the tier pricing, if you have, so it works Okay, this is the flat tier, uh, uh, the trade agreement which I have posted, where you are defining that, okay, if your quantity, so this field is additionally available here. Okay, this was not available before we had this subscription billing. If you enable this, this field will be available for you in the trade agreement. What I'm telling here is that if my quantity is from 0 to 10, then my total price will be 8,000. Okay, so if you have one quantity, two quantity, three quantity, doesn't matter, right? The total price will be 8,000. Okay, but if my quantities are from 11 to 20, let's say, then my price will be 7,500, right? So this is how and this price is for all the quantities I have. Okay, not only for the quantities which I mean per quantity. It's for the complete tier. This pricing is available for us. Okay, that is one way of defining the flat tier. One thing, and then we also have the tier pricing, which works based on the standard range which we have. So you just define 0 to 10, and what is the price for that? 6,000. You define 11 to 30, then what is the price for this? Right? So this is how you define these two types of pricing in the trade agreement, and the same will be reflected here. So how it is reflected here, if I see this flat, let's see the tier pricing first. So if my tier pricing is like 15 quantity, if you see the pricing, it is showing 5833, right? Why it is showing 5833? Let's see in the view billing details. So if you go to view billing details, it's a short contract like I have defined. So 58. Why it is showing now in the bottom? If you see in the line details, it gives you the breakup that for up to 10 quantity, the price was 6,000, and 11 to 30 quantity price was this. Now we have a 15 quantity, so 10 quantity will be consumed based on this price. 5 quantities will be consumed based on this price. And if I average it out for the 15 quantity, the per quantity price, the unit price is going to be derived in this way, right? So that system does the calculation here. Similarly, if I go and see the flat tier, okay, now I have entered 12 quantity and it is just showing 625, right? Why it is showing 625? If I go to billing details, because my total tier cost for that particular 12 quantity was 7,500, right? So 7,500 divided by 12, so which will lead to your 625 as a unit price. So that is how the system has derived this. Now in this, one more variation what we can do is that if we go to advanced pricing options here, if I put the three quantity as a three, let's say, if I enter, let's say I'm giving away three quantity, and it should change my, yeah. So if you see now my pricing has changed from that to 889 because 8,000 is changing because now it falls under 12 minus 3 is 9 quantity, and it falls under the previous flat tier which I have defined in the system, right? So that is how your pricing is going to behave for this for these billing schedule details or the billing schedules which you are creating. Now once you have all these like correct item type or required item type, required pricing method set up for yourself, you can follow the same process of the generating the invoices in the system. So if I go back and show you a few more things like here, so you have active billing, you have certain inquiries and reports where you can check all these different contracts which are available, different billing schedule lines available. You have periodic tasks for generating the invoices in bulk in the batch process, or you can do the mass termination. So all these things are available for you to do the process in bulk. Okay. So this is how your recurring contract billing works in Dynamics 365. And there are other two parts also available like expense and revenue deferrals. I can't cover that as of now, but like, I mean, maybe some other time we will talk about those things. Next thing, if we talk about is the Power BI workspace. So we know the Power BI embedded is available out of the box in Dynamics 365. We can enable that. And the subscription billing also has got its own capability for different types of sub modules which we are having here. And you have for this recurring contract billing also, you have these dashboards available out of the box. So this is like if you want to have a monthly recurring billing quick view available for you. You want to have the analysis available for you. You can see this. And you also have a tab here of billing schedule details, right? So if you want to see the schedule details, but how this is going to work for you, how do you, uh, I mean, see this data is that the first thing which you need to do is that you need to run this MRR analytical report batch processing for to consider all the data what you have in the system right now. And this batch job you can run only for 3 years duration. Okay, so when you are putting the start date and the end date, make sure this duration is not more than 3 years for you. Okay, so you need to put this 3 years duration, put in a batch process, and this will run in the backend. Another thing, I think it's a common process for everything. You have to go to entity store, and in the entity store, you are having the subscription billing, this MRR report. There are three different available: waterfall report and all these things. For the other sub modules like expense and revenue difference and the multi-element revenue allocation as well. But we are talking about the revenue recognition, contract revenue, right? Contract billing. So you run this thing and you just refresh this. You can set up as auto refresh and things like that. And once you do this, you have got a subscription billing workspace. I highly recommend everyone to train your customers to use the workspaces rather than going to the navigation. It gives them a better flexibility. So you have this workspace up. So it's a usual workspace which you have. But apart from that, if you move to this analytics MRR here, so it is going to load the data based on whatever the transactions we have, or based on the frequency which has the last batch job has been run. So this is the Power BI space which you have here. You can move to the other billing schedule detail as well. So all these things, you have different filters available here. So all these things you can just check it out. Okay. And definitely these are the out of the box dashboards. But if you want, if you have a capability of you understand the Power BI report designing and things, you definitely can edit or add new reports to this based on the data set what you have available. In this particular thing. Okay. So yeah, now open to the questions. Maybe we can take up the question. That's it I have for this recurring contract billing. I hope I have finished things on time.
Yes, Saurabh, thank you so much. I can see a couple of questions on the chat. I'll try to quickly go through it one by one. The first one is it possible to bill based on number of tickets per month when the contract is based on number of tickets per year for IT services company?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, like you can use the usage line item type, and where you can put the consumption or the reading. So if you want to talk about the accumulated number of tickets, let's say first month you have 100 tickets, next month you have 150 tickets. So if you want to just pull up the number of ticket 150 in the second month or 50. So based on the consumption or reading options, you can use that functionality. Yes, you can do that.
All right. Next question is again from Chandrasekhar. How about time and material contract, where time is billable and contract for material consumption is separate?
Yeah, so that's right. So now you can have different line item. First thing is, like, if I say time, see, again, it depends on like uh, how you are considering the time. So if you are saying like, okay, time and material is like whatever has been consumed. Basically, time and material is what has been consumed. You want to bill for that. So again, the usage is the best option for that, right? And if you have anything which you want to bill at as a fixed price, and you know that this is what I'm going to bill to the customer, you might use the milestone based on the completion, or you might use a standard line item where you say, okay, this is my fixed price and this is what I'm going to bill to you, to the customer. So maybe you can have a mix and match of the line item types in your same billing schedule.
All right. Thank you so much. The next set of questions are from Bilur. First one from her is, can we perform billing schedule for vendor as well, like we can do it for customers?
No, I don't think so. Right now we have that capability. It's just based on the sales order and the free text invoice. But
Mhm.
there is one thing which I could not cover right now here, but it's a very lovely functionality, and it is going to solve our one of the major pain point is the revenue and expense deferral. That is available for our journals also. It is available for purchase order, invoice journal, and things. Now you might think like how it is going to solve, what pain point it is going. So if we know the accruals, the purchase accruals is the biggest pain point right now, and we try to figure out different workaround for all those things. I have not explored, but I'm going to do that. But I
Mhm.
feel the accruals, the purchase accruals are going to be better managed using this revenue and expense deferral option, which we have in the journals and the purchase order side. So I think that is going to be a good output from this particular model.
Yeah, and for sure we would be looking forward for that session in future, Saurabh, as well. The
Yes,
next question
definitely.
is, um, do we have some default workflows for the billing schedule? Is it available as of now?
I think workflows are not available right now, and uh, I think yeah, workflows are not available for billing schedule right now. Yeah.
Okay. And how can we map with the order and risk management?
Order and the risk management. I'm not sure about
Mhm.
the risk management, but definitely orders are getting created automatically against the billing schedule. So you can either, I mean, so the first option which I was showing you, like where when you generate the invoice, you have an option, you just create the order and then
Mhm.
maybe don't create the invoice, and invoice you create separately, or you can directly create the invoice. So yes, it is, I mean, you can manually map that, okay, this order I want to map against this thing.
Mhm.
It creates the order automatically.
All
And
right.
and another point here I want to say that it is getting improved day by day. Okay, so there
Mhm.
is a roadmap where it is going to interact with the project module as well, because if you see the milestone, consumption, and time and material, whatever we are talking, right, it is more related to the project capability. So I think I have seen somewhere that it is in the roadmap that where it is going to talk to the project module as well. And I think there we will have a lot of options, a lot of flexibilities as well there.
All right. Perfect. And just take up the last question from Lingamurthy now. So the question is it allowed to create B2B PO against billing schedule?
I think no. So as I said, I don't think so. It is available for the purchase order right now. Right now, the billing schedule is available till the, I mean, the sales order and the free text invoice.
All right, I think that's it from the question side, Saurabh. What an incredible session, Saurabh.
Thank you.
I can say for sure my concepts have been cleared on this topic, and even others would have felt the same. We really appreciate your time and efforts shown towards the community. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abhay. Thank you again to you and the Rakesh to, I mean, organizing this a fantastic event. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.